Oh, fell in my hand, and it's a bear. Good evening. Hey, what's up, folks? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Got a really cool new live cam up here. It's the live pigeon key cam. I believe this is that little island that's situated between the two bridges, the old bridge that used to lead to the Florida Keys and the new bridge that they built in the 70s. Really beautiful view here, and you know, one of the reasons that we love South Florida, I love South Florida. My father, well, I should say the Keys, really, all of South Florida, but the Keys were some of the most beautiful sunrises and the sunsets. You know, you're actually sitting on an island at the end of these bridges. If you've never been down there and you've never experienced the Keys, as you're driving down there, these bridges just connect these little islands along the whole way. And in the morning, you get the most beautiful sunrises. In the evening, you get the most beautiful sunsets. It's the best of both worlds, trust me on this. And probably like 76 degrees out there. This is our Key season right now here in South Florida. And the reason most of us Floridians live down here, how do you beat 76 degree weather? Take a look at that. Nothing wrong with that. Let me move into the quote for the day, which is, a society that gets rid of all its troublemakers goes downhill. Absolutely true. I mean, one troublemaker is another person's freedom fighter, another person's patriot, or whatever you might call it. So troublemakers are definitely in need. And, you know, I'm a big fan of Robert Heinlein, read a lot of his books, and also love a lot of the quotes that he mentions here, and I kind of feel like a troublemaker to some degree as well. So it's just in my blood, you know, as troublemakers. And if you're listening to me, you're probably a troublemaker too. So anyway, let's take a look at spot prices for today. I'm going to do a quick refresh here. Spot prices courtesy of CCE, one of the greatest, oldest networks out there. Unfortunately, it is a subscription network only, available to dealers out there. If any dealers listen to me and you're buying and selling gold, silver, and platinum, or any kind of coins, it's really a great network to be on. And the reason I show you guys here these particular spot prices rather than other spot prices is because they're static, they're fixed, and the screen's not popping all over the place when we're talking, and it gives the highs and lows as well. But I don't think most of you can access this page. I think this is a subscription only type page. That's why I like to give creds to CCE for putting up the great product that they do. Let's take a look at the market right now. Currently 1937, the current crooked CME Group's derivative paper price market, 1937.49, 23.65, and 10.56 platinum, hovering around all over the place. Yesterday in the early morning, or I guess late Sunday night, we saw 22.80 silver, but it's kind of bounced back up. The resistance seems to be at $24, but you know, I could start going into the resistance and the resistance levels and the graphs that the graph guys like to talk about. You know, which graphs are great, and resistance levels and all this technical jargon is great, you know, when you're dealing with organic real markets. But we're not dealing with an organic real market. We're dealing with a fixed crooked market where the prices are derived, the silver and gold prices and platinum prices derived by a bunch of crooked manipulative paper derivatives, more or less. And again, talk about it over time. I'm just so sick of talking about it that let me just say that these prices are still a bargain at this level, and this is what the current spot prices are. Take it for what it is. They're crooked on the high side, they're crooked on the low side, but at some point I do believe that the price of silver is just going to catch. You know, the real question is does the CME Group finally wake up? Does, in my opinion, okay, this is my opinion, does the CME Group finally wake up and realize, you know, how they can get caught with their pants down in the silver market here, how easy it would be, and how it happened to other players, other casinos like the CME Group's casino. With the LME, we take the nickel trade about a year and a half ago, for example, that defaulted. The LME came out and bailed their asses out. But that's a credibility loser for the LME. Do you think the CME Group wants to risk their reputation and you know, reputation and legal implications and all this stuff over a crooked silver market? You would think not. But then again, it's tough to say who's running the show there at the CME Group, and whether they feel that they can continue to get away with allowing these big commercial short positions to manipulate these markets around, which ultimately is going to cost the CME Group the most. Again, an credibility factor. I mean, if you take a look at politics, what's happened with politics? What's happened with both parties? Both parties, both red and blue parties, have lost credibility. Or the way in which we I don't want to use the word elections, but the way in which we use elections and stuff. We got issues with that. We got issues, again, with credibility out there. Credibility is an issue that we're having, whether it's politics, economics, you name it. But, really, the people that are causing the problems are causing their own credibility problems, and that includes the CME Group, COMEX, who allows these markets to be manipulated like this. And maybe at one point it's like the insurance companies figuring, the car companies saying, well, listen, that default in the car, it only costs us like, $50 million a year to fight it in courts or to pay people off, but if we were to fix the actual fault in the car, it would cost us billions, all right? So we'll just keep paying people off. Maybe that's the CME Group's thought about the whole deal, is they'll just, keep allowing their people to pay fines. They'll keep, well, anyway, I don't know what motivates the CME Group. I don't think it's honesty, because they've known about, again, that's my opinion, I don't think there's anything honest about the CME Group, because they've known for a long time how manipulated and crooked these silver markets are. And that's just such a small market. Makes you wonder, and again, it's a cascading effect. It's called poisoning the well. If the facts come out that the CME Group, and if we know the facts are there, but if the facts make it to mainstream media, remember, we're a small amount of people out there. We're a small group of people out there, all right? If you're listening to me right now, you and I and maybe 1%, if that, and I doubt it's even that, I bet you I'm being way optimistic, understand how these silver market is rigged and how this collusive behavior actually happens. I'm not even sure that the people that regulate, the board members of the CFTC understand it, and if they do, they're just complicit. All right, well, again, there I go down the rabbit hole of the crooked CME Group's silver market and how that's going to spill over to other markets. But again, can CME Group afford this major loss of credibility when it starts getting out even more and more and more how crooked the silver market is in their particular casino? All right, I'm going to move along from here. Well, hold on. The whole point of that is the CME Group's got to either change something or it's going to blow up in their faces. Just like the nickel short in the with the LME, silver is going to have a major issue. It's going to blow up in their faces. I have a suspicion that maybe the CME Group is not that stupid and they're covering their asses right now. They're trying to get these large collusive commercial banks to unwind this collusive manipulative behavior. But again, that's just my opinion. I'm going to stick with it, and I'm giving them a benefit of the doubt that they have some brains. If not, again, it's just going to blow up in their faces, just like the nickel default did with the LME markets. Good article here on Zero Hedge. You can read it yourself anytime you want. Free, free, free. That's the one nice thing about Zero Hedge. Although they bombard you with ads, I do have the premium account. Maybe I don't get less ads than you, but I am paying extra for this. But no less, same articles you can read for free, less the advertising. Peter Schiff wrote a good article, Indian silver imports set record in 2022. And this all builds into something, about silver. And I'm getting somewhere with this too, because I want to talk to you about something even more important. I think that, well, anyway, we'll see this in a moment. You can fast forward if you're bored with CH. India's love for gold is well known. It's second largest gold consuming country in the world, behind China. In case you didn't know that, I did know that they were the second largest country that accumulated gold, not just their central banks. India's mostly, that's private purchases of gold. They're some of the largest buyers. But India have an affinity with silver as well. Last year, silver imports into India hit a new record of 304 million ounces. 304 million ounces went to India, folks. 304 ounces of real silver, physical bullion silver, okay, went to India. They're large buyers of silver. And what does this mean? this means that where is this silver coming from? Ted Butler talked recently that probably some of the drain from the SLV that's coming out of the SLV is going. Was it Ted Butler that said that? But that Indian buyers are draining SLV of physical silver. They're in large quantities. They're draining silver out of there, and they're not able to replace it. I think Ted talks about the reason SLV has that huge short position that represents what, 10% of the whole. Well, something like that. Anyways, don't have the. I should have wrote the details down, but no less that big short position in SLV represents not the fact that people are shorting silver because they think it's going to go down, but they're shorting silver because they don't have the silver to deliver into SLV. And why is that? Because of the huge drain that we're seeing going into other countries like India. All right. Last year, silver imports into India hit a new record of 304 million ounces. That crushed the previous import high of 260 million ounces set in 2015. More than half of the silver flowing in India is used in jewelry and silverware, and about 1/3 of India's silver demand comes from investors in physical metals, including silver bars and silver coins. Excuse me, my mouth is a little dry here. Let me take a sip here. Okay, according to a report published by the Silver Institute since 2010, Indian retail investors have bought around 730 million ounces of silver since 2010. 730 million ounces, folks. That's almost a billion ounces. To put that in perspective, that represents about 90% of 2022's total global silver mine production. Now, let me go back to COMEX silver prices that we see right here. COMEX silver prices. Prices this low in silver would indicate that there's huge amounts of sellers. Silver is not a popular product, and there's plenty of it available. That's what tells us that these prices are huge lies, especially silver, more than likely platinum because it's a small market as well. And gold, tough to say. Gold, harder to manipulate than the price of silver and platinum just because of the sheer size of those markets. But let's go back to Indian silver here. Over the last decade, the only years that silver investment demand fell in India were 2016 during the pandemic and 2020. Silver investment in India was muted during the pandemic, blah, blah, blah. Let's go get into some meat here and see what I can find. This is interesting. The Indian government's crackdown on the gold market has boosted. I think they raised taxes and other things on gold as far as people of India buying gold. According to the Silver Institute report, the Indian government's ongoing tough stance towards unaccounted money and increased vigilance on gold transactions have benefited silver as investors move out of gold and favor silver. This is a great thing, folks. But again, this all reminds us that there are huge buyers for real silver out there, not the paper derivative bullshit that the CME group peddles or other groups like the LME or the LBMA peddle. Or even ETFs peddle. I know that ETFs have their. I know that Sprott PSLV has the silver in there. I know that SLV has the silver in there. But again, you're just buying paper when you're buying from them. All right. So really, well, anyways, I digress. That's a whole different rabbit hole. The Silver Institute reports underscores the importance of India in the global silver market. As the world's sixth largest economy and foremost silver fabricator, India also plays an essential role in silver and gold investment demand, historically recognizing that markets as savings and investment assets. Well, that's what Indian people put away gold and silver for, as savings and investment assets, mostly as savings, wealth preservation. People from India know all about wealth preservation. Americans are learning about it. A reflection of the low penetration of banking and other financial products. Today, with new investment products available to India's, blah, 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 silver investors. Anyways, interesting article by Peter Schiff. You can read this for free in ZH, or you can go to vschiff.gold. I'm sure it's there as well. Another good article here I want to kind of point out here is, I haven't talked about Charles Hugh Smith via Off Two Minds blog. One of my favorite writers out there. Back when I was on, before I got kicked off of FB, FB for talking about the critter, and that's the truth. I had a FB account for 12 years, got kicked off for talking about the critter. Used to follow Charles Hugh Smith on there quite frequently. I haven't read him in a while, except I do see him come up on Zero Hedge. But a good article if you want truly sound money, a thought experiment. Listen, this gets a little heady here. I'm not a big fan of telling people that here's some homework for you, but here's suggested reading for you. Go to, actually, I'm going to go right to his blog here because, he's a good dude, and you can donate to his, writing here as well. And ZH is more or less just a hub that posts different articles from different writers. So as you can see, Charles Hugh Smith, really good article. I'm going to go up here, and I want you to be able to see this. And well, I guess you can't cut and paste it, but good read. Not going to read the whole thing to you. Kind of just going to go over a few things here. The only way a currency can be as good as gold is if it can be converted to gold. Absolutely true. Spot on statement by Mr. Hughes. Oh my gosh, I should know his name. Mr. Hugh Smith, Charles Hugh Smith, Mr. Smith. Let's call him Mr. Smith. The only way a currency can be as good as gold is if you can be converted to gold. Absolutely true. The only way an oil-backed currency is actually backed by oil is if the currency being converted into oil futures contract, i.e. claim an actual oil. And Charles talks about how we could go back on a gold standard. And he's kind of made up some interesting points here and interesting ways we could do it. The three problems, he says, immediately arise with the gold standard is the gold reserves are not large enough at the current prices. The U.S. currently holds 261,500,000 ounces of gold in reserve, 8,133 tons, supposedly. At the current price of gold around 1,900 ounce, this is worth about 500 billion. Nowhere near enough to equal the current monetary base or money supply. And he's absolutely correct about this. For people that think we could just simply convert over to a gold standard, it would still be a fractional dollar and a fractional amount of gold backing that dollar. Not an ounce, not even close to it. Not even close to the old day stuff. Currency, and he goes into how much currency, which is kind of mind-numbing. Take a look at these numbers right here. 21 trillion, 9 trillion, 2.29 trillion. World individual held wealth is 480 trillion. And he says right down here, there's no way to have a currency that circulates if every coin. And what he's saying that if we did go to a gold-backed coin or currency, is that the wealthy or coin, the wealthy would accumulate that. And that's what is that? Oh my gosh, what law is that? Good, bad money drives good money out. I got to go and look that up for you because that's exactly what he's talking about. Bad money. See, I'm a slow typer. Drives Gresham's law. There we go. God, I should know this. This is what happens when you get old. In economics, Gresham's law is a monetary principle saying that bad money drives out good. For example, if there are two forms of commodity money in circulation which are accepted by law as having similar face value, the more valuable commodity will disappear into circulation. All right, and that's what Charles is talking about right here when he says that, is that gold will be hoarded. Any other type of fiat species out there will be let go. They won't want to hold on to it. So what is preventing, if the United States goes to a gold standard, rich and wealthy people and other people hoarding all the gold? And well, anyway, here he goes. The solution is threefold, and he's got some interesting points here. Arbitrarily set the value in gold coins at $20,000 an ounce. And I think this is kind of a cool thought here. And again, I don't want to read all this stuff because it goes into some detail. It's recommended reading by me, not homework, because everyone hates homework. He's got a point here. But what he doesn't point out, does this mean that the government sets the official price of gold at $20,000 and that it can't work on a free marketplace? Or, I'm kind of lost there a little bit. The same mechanism could be used for silver coins. The value of silver in coins can be set to $250 per ounce. He has some really good points here. This would set the total value, if they reprice the gold of silver, it would set the total value, gold holdings of 261 million is at 10 trillion. This is roughly double the current monetary. This would solve everything if the United States government just called gold at $20,000 an ounce. Now, I know most of you thinking, I own gold, it'll be $20,000 an ounce, are jumping up and down with glee and joy, but that's probably not how it would work. It would just be a big reset. 1900 would become the new 20,000, and the dollar would become, instead of being $100, it would be at $10,000 now. So you got to think of from that angle. He also talks about a reverse split, the dollar 100 to 1. And this really is kind of what I was talking about here, is that, they're almost one and the same, number 1 and 2. But you know what? I'm not going to read the whole thing for you. Charles puts out some really good articles here, and I highly recommend you read Charles Hugh Smith. Great article. You want truly sound money, a thought experiment. I'm going to move into another interesting little blurb I saw out here, which Switzerland sent 524 tons of gold to China last year, most since 2018. Folks, between China, India, and Russia, they are sucking up the gold out there. And you know why? Their central banks are sucking up the gold because they absolutely know what real money is, and they know what a collapse of a fiat looks like, a fiat currency looks like. They've had it happen to themselves so many times, and they do not want to be in US dollars. You know why? We're in the brink, if not in the full-blown downward slide of the fiat dollar that's becoming more worthless and worthless. And the problem with that, too, is, you know, at some point since 1913, the Fed's been pretty good at keeping that slide to a minimum. But now these people have just completely, the government's completely screwed. The U.S. government's completely screwed in so many ways. Well, that means we, the people, are screwed, not the government. They've screwed us. But no less, oh, wow. Getting too political here. But look what countries want to own. They don't want to own U.S. dollars. They don't even want to own their own country. You think Russia wants to own rubles? Hell no. You think China wants to own the yuan, the fiat yuan? No. You think anyone wants to own U.S. dollars? Anyone? No. You know what they want to own? They want to own commodities. They want to own gold and silver because, again, that's preservation of wealth. It's the oldest form of money on earth. And they also want to own other commodities that you need to live on a daily basis. They're smart. Our government and our economic people are not. And I hate to say it, but it's true. Gold. Jim Rickards says gold breakout as central banking is doing, not inflation. Good articles by Jim Rickards. To me, the the never-ending bull. Jim Rickards has been a bull in this market. Always looked positively and thinking that the bull market was right around the corner for the last 20 years. Gotta love that positivity that he shows the markets, but no less, I get it. And he's absolutely right. Gold's breakout is central banks doing, not inflation's. And that's kind of why I would just talk about that here. Well, anyways, listen, I had some more fun with this AI program. This is chatopenai.com. It is a real AI program, actually. And I've asked it a couple questions here. How rare is silver? And as you know, we kind of went into that last night. And I was surprised by this answer. Silver is less common than gold in terms of average concentration in the Earth's crust and the easing of mining of it. The average concentration of silver in the Earth's crust is estimated to be around 0.08 parts per million. And again, I'm just kind of going over what we talked about last night. But basically, it says that silver is much rarer than gold, or harder to obtain, harder to mine. And I found that answer because we never talk about that. No YouTubers talk about that. And here AI brings us up pretty apparently how hard it is. Additionally, silver is often found mixing with other elements and minerals, making it more difficult and costly to extract and refine compared to gold, which can be more easily extracted from the earth. As a result, silver is generally considered less common and more expensive than gold. Less common and more expensive than gold to mine, that is, not in price, which makes you wonder how these prices make any freaking sense in reality. They don't. They don't make any sense, especially the silver price here. All right, well, let me move along from here. I just got a whim to say how much silver is on the moon. It's not known. And actually, I had a little article I was going to talk about, but we'll do that another time about the moon thing here. I'll ask AI again what that is. But here's the interesting question. I'll skip over that. How much available above ground silver versus gold is there currently? And you're going to like this. I found this response interesting. I'm going to go through the rest of it here. It is estimated that there's approximately, excuse me one second, real quick sip here. It is estimated that there is approximately 17.5 billion ounces of above ground silver and approximately 5 billion ounces of above ground gold in the world today. I mean, that's quite a discrepancy, but when it says above ground, it doesn't mean available, because a lot of the silver is in use. It's in cell phones. It's being used for something. It's in manufacturing. It's in investors' hands, all right? However, it says the actual amount of above ground silver and gold can vary depending on factors such as mining production levels and changes in demand. The above ground silver is more widely distributed and can be found in various forms such as coins, jewelry, bullion, and industrial use. Now, it says above ground silver. that doesn't mean that that silver is available. Some of that silver and a lot of that silver may be in investors' hands. 17.5 million ounces of above ground silver may not be available. It may be in your telephone. It may be in your electronics at home. It may be in landfills. It may be in the hands of investors, okay, but not necessarily available for sale. It says it's worth noting that these figures, okay, it always says that. And I asked how much gold and silver is estimated to be in the garbage dumps and landfills. And I thought this was very interesting. We've done quite a few videos on how silver is actually thrown away in landfills and is quite possibly rarer than gold as far as available sources, not above ground sources, but what's available. And let's read into this, which I thought was a great answer. It is difficult to estimate the exact amount of gold and silver that may be present in garbage dumps and landfills, as it can vary depending on the gold location and the types of waste that are disposed of in a particular area. However, it is known that gold and silver can be found in small amounts in electronic waste, such as smartphones, computers, as well as other items that may be discarded as coins and jewelry. Recovering these metals from landfills and garbage dumps can be a challenging task. And again, this is stuff that we've discussed in other videos about, how much silver is thrown away every year and what is the real available amount of silver and why silver is probably a lot rarer than most people think. Especially available silver, not above ground silver, but available silver. As metals are often mixed with other materials, they can be difficult to separate. Additionally, the process of extracting the metals from the waste can be costly and may not be economically viable, and that's the whole point. And I was just telling you that I was doing a search on how much silver and gold is on the moon. Same thing, economically viable is another point. Just because it's there, don't mean you can make it economically viable to get on Earth. All right. It's noting that some companies are working about electronic waste, blah, blah, blah. So let me move along from here. How much gold and silver is used in electronics yearly? And I thought this was a great answer because it kind of nailed it really quickly and short here. It's difficult to estimate, blah, blah, blah. And it talks about used in electronic devices, but here it gives me some hard numbers. On average, it's estimated that a smartphone contains about 50 milligrams of gold and about 15 grams of silver. 50 milligrams of gold is not very much, folks. You're going to be surprised to find out that that doesn't equal a lot in your cell phones, but 15 grams of silver is. An average laptop contains about 200 milligrams of gold and about 15 grams of silver as well. All right, so double that number. Remember that we're going to get into something really interesting here. And how many smartphones and computers are made yearly? All right, now, and I kind of was curious here. The numbers of smartphones and computers produced on a yearly basis, blah, 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 blah. However, it is estimated that in 2001, about 1.8 billion smartphones were made worldwide. Computer production is a little bit different. Let's just focus on smartphones, folks, because everyone has one. So I ask it here to multiply 1.8 billion times 50 milligrams. That's how much gold is in each phone, okay, 50 milligrams. And then convert that to troy ounces. It does a great job of that right here, really fairly quickly down here. And it tells me that in 1.8 billion phones produced all worldwide that contain 2,898 ounces of pure gold. Really, in the large scale of things, that's not much, okay? Think about that. It's not much. But silver, a whole different thing. Multiply 1.8 billion times 15 grams and convert that to troy ounces. Take a look at this number right here, folks. Just in telephones, laptops and computers use the same amount of silver, so double the number that we're about to look at here. Ready? Here's the math. I'm not going to go into the math. So the estimated amount of silver used in smartphones produced in 2021 is around 869,567 troy ounces. Okay, more or less, you can say that yearly, add computers in, that's about double that figure. You're looking at 1.6, 1.7 million ounces a year of silver are used in smartphones. And how many phones are actually disposed of each year? Well, if someone's replacing 1.8, you got to figure if there's 1.8 million phones being made yearly, then there's 1.8 million phones being thrown away. So what this tells me, and maybe laptops not so much, but yearly we're throwing away in landfills more than likely 869,560 troy ounces a year, and probably more. And we're just talking about cell phones and computers. We're not talking about all the other electronics out there that use silver in car, you name it, that get thrown in landfills. Folks, millions of ounces of silver get thrown into landfills that will never be seen again until it becomes cost effective to take them back out. And this what makes me believe that silver is truly a rare metal. Silver, in some respects, is rarer than gold out there. Yet it is priced ridiculously much lower. And why is that? Well, we've got a crooked marketplace. Again, I'm not getting into that right now. I'm going to get into yesterday's video and answer a few questions out there. Give me 1 second here. Man, I haven't even eaten dinner yet. I got to, getting a little bit hungry here. Hangry. I'll take it out on Comex. There we go. All right, I'm going to kind of blow that up so you can see that better. Yesterday's video. Monkey hammered. And from commercial, let's take a look. Look at all those videos from commercial rare coins. All right, 600 and something of them actually, man. Thank you for commenting, all you guys. Zane, Super Battle, Rob. Is that Rob? Super Battle and Rob, same guy. You guys use the same icon. Come on, give it up, man. Let me know. They need their fingers. Yo up and down comics. Thank you, user S4CY1X4S. Appreciate that. I haven't seen you comment before, and thank you. Mark, I don't think we'll see anything over 30 announced this year. I think we will, for sure. But then again, I probably said that last year, didn't I? Silverliner says, what's funny, there's a bra commercial right before my Monkey Hammer video. Well, hey, listen. Gorilla Hammer, okay. Like, stop short if you lie. Yeah, that's it. It's only a lie if you don't believe. Well, no, it's only a lie if you believe it. I think that's the quote. Anyways, now you have to watch the video again. Me too. My grandmother would say as worthless as that on a boar hog. I'm going to have to look up boar hog because I know what a log is, but not many people know what this is without referring to a bad word as well. But that's a little bird. It's a little tiny bird, I think, like a sparrow or something, isn't it? Michael Creation? Okay. This is predictable. It's an impulse, premeditated, massive, coordinated pump following a controlled sell-off. Big boys have metric tons of stuff they need to move. They started shortening the supply a few months ago, and they're slowly trickling into the market now, moving as much as they can before they run out of money. We're on the same team here, like metals, as much as you, but I don't have to be playing. But it's why you're afraid because you're looking at it from a flawed premise. I don't think they're laying the stuff off to us. I don't think they're laying stuff at all. I think they're actually having a hard time filling their naked shorts, which are really derivatives and contracts, comic contracts and such. And that's exactly what that that big short position in SLV is. It's a naked short. Think about it. Thanks for commenting, Michael. I agree with you. I think we're on the same page as you said. Sega Ama 461 says, hard to believe no Newsday silver went down from $1. Not hard for me when you know how manipulated and how crooked these markets are, and how the CME casino is probably, they work for the crooks. When they don't work for the crooks, they make money off the crooks, so they allow it to happen. That's just, again, that's my opinion. Oscar 1962 says, just remember it's not a lie if you believe it. That's it. That's George Costanza's quote. DC, the anxious Texas says, I wish I'd been able to catch it at 2280. Here on the West Coast, of course, went and picked up my safe today, but yeah, it happens, man. Don't worry about it. Dude, I mean, I've been saying it for some time. I think sub $50 silver is cheap no matter what you get it. We're all going to wake up and have our oh shit moment. Unless you plan on dying soon. No one plans on dying soon. But unless you have a bad prognosis for living any length of time, I think we're all going to wake up and have our oh shit moment with silver for sure. I said it. There we go. Thanks, Anxious Stacker. Rusty Rabbit Tack says, thank you for being so genuine and spot on about silver. I'm exhausted with clickbait, hot air concerning silver posts. You nailed comics and gave it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Or sir or ma'am or whatever you may be. You know what? I got to tell you, I'm exhausted with talking about the same old shit all the time. And it really is, as a YouTube content producer. And again, I do this for advertising for my store, and I'm going to get into that. By the way, I can beat this and this and this prices. But, the truth of the matter is, after you've done a subject like silver over, like I have for 3 years now, and a lot of guys have been doing even longer and have bigger viewers, it becomes harder to come up with content, because it's the same narrative. You're talking about CME Group, how crooked they are, the banks, how crooked they are, what the best premiums are, so content becomes a little hard, and I get clickbait. What I hate is clickbait that when they put a title up there that has nothing to do with anything you watched in their video. You know, I'm okay with it is if they mention, you know, if they say, I said earlier this week, are we going to see $18 silver? Look, silver about to blow by $50. I said that 11 months ago. I mean, so you throw it out there, but you know, if you look at what I said about silver blowing by $50, it was in the context was about other players out there talking about $50 silver. So there was some context involved in the video. But anyway, I get that. But man, it is hard producing these things. It really is, especially when you've done them like, you know, I'm over 600 videos now in a short period of time. Hey, thanks for watching, Rusty Rabbit. Hope I didn't. Woe is me. Videos are so hard. My life sucks. Sorry about that. Anonymous Andy says the price hammers don't disappoint for those who are still stacking. Absolutely freaking true. Keep buying the dips. Buy the frickin' dips. Will they ever stop manipulating? How do you see it blowing up? I think Ted Butler talks about that, Christina. I really do. Read Ted Butler. He talks about how it's going to blow up in their faces. It'll blow up because the manufacturers are going to need silver. Silver is needed for manufacturing. And if all of a sudden there is no physical silver out there to meet the demand of a billion ounces of silver a year or something like that. Million, I'm sorry. Anyways, millions of ounces of silver a year being needed for industrial uses, not just for investment. It'll blow up, trust me, just like the nickel market did. Joe McDonald says, wanted to know where I got the picture of you holding the hammer. And, well, she sent it to me, Joe. I'm sorry. Strong Man says, great video, sir. I agree with the points you made in this video. Thank you, sir. Mike's Big Epiphany says the stage is being set for silver. Bull run. I agree with you 100%. Wow, silver is less common than gold. Amazing. Absolutely true. I think that too, Jeff Keller. Philip Stanton says, hey, Brian, the Monkey Hammer lost so much power as the day went on by yesterday. Yeah, I saw that. It kind of run up, which tells me that silver's kind of showing some strength here. But you know what? I don't trust the price mechanism. I don't trust where these prices, the price discovery process at the CME group. So, you know, at any given time, I'm waiting for a smackdown. At any given time, I'm waiting for it to just surge up to 50. But there's one thing I do know for certain. It's way freaking underpriced at the level they got it at. Michael Matthews says, just food for thought. What if the Hunt brothers are not taking out loans to buy all their silver? How do you think it would play out? I think that they would have found another scheme to shake the Hunt brothers out of that silver position, because the Hunt brothers were about to break the COMEX. They were about to break the London bullion market. They were about to break the whole bullshit derivatives market, and they were freaking, dude. That's the Hunts did nothing wrong. They just recognized the fraud, they recognized the naked short positions, and they went after them. And they got penalized by having their loans yanked by a bunch of shady shit. But remember, these big commercial banks, big commercial bullion banks, they're crooked mothers. They really are. So what do you expect? And when the CME group allows it, you know, but at some point, like a very smart friend of mine said, it will blow up in their faces. Manipulation can't last forever. Hey, that's it. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. If you're looking to buy gold, silver, and platinum in any amounts from $1 to millions of dollars worth of gold and silver, I'll beat the guys out there. That's what I do, man. I'm out there to beat the good guys out there, the good, strong guys out there, and that's the only way you can become, you know, bigger and better and stronger in life, is by racing with the big boys. So if you're looking to buy gold, silver, and platinum and any other precious metals, don't go to APMEX, don't go to SD, don't go to JM, and I think they're great companies. Come to me, especially if you live in South Florida, and I'll also beat the local guys. If you don't live in South Florida and you can't come visit my brick and mortar Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in Lauderdale by the Sea, we do shipping, and we do over the phone sales, but we do limit it to 1,500 ounces of silver and 100 ounces of gold. So if you live anywhere in the country and you want to buy those kind of quantities, you can call us as well, and we can hook you up. If not, I can't tell you enough how much I think you should find a good local coin store. Again, if you're buying smaller quantities, it really pays to develop a local relationship with your local dealer. And there's a lot of good ones out there if you take the time to look. Well, that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. This is Brian Kuzma with Commercial Rare Coins. And don't forget to find me at the Collectorama Coin Show in Lakeland, Florida, February 16th to 18th, 2023. And get your free tickets here, free entry. I'll be there, and there'll be bullion stuff like you see, silver eagles, gold, silver, platinum coins, even antique firearms and other cool stuff. Make sure you put this on your schedule if you live in Florida. Again, the Lakeland, Florida RP Center, Funding Center in Lakeland, February 16th to 18th, the Collectorama Show. Hey, thanks for watching, folks. Have a great evening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye now.